Darth Maul, one of the coolest and most iconic characters in all of Star Wars. As soon as they announced there's going to be a new Darth Maul leader of Legends of the Force, I knew I had to build it. And let me tell you right now, I am so pleased with this deck. It's actually surprised me with how strong and effective it can be, while also managing to be a lot of fun to play. But before we jump onto the leader, the base, and how the deck likes to play, if you enjoy StarWarsUnlimited content, then make sure to like and subscribe, because there's plenty of content to come, new deck builds, and the gameplay videos are now officially coming, because this is the first video I am filming in my new house. So make sure to stick around if you want to see those. And with that being said, let's jump in to this deck. To kick things off with this deck is, well, Darth Maul himself. He's got a really nice ability. It reads action. You can use the Force and exhaust him, and if you do 1 damage to a unit, then 1 damage to a different unit. This actually sets us up beautifully, because it means they can play out all these little units and we can just keep pinging away, keep chipping at them, and eventually their units would just get defeated through Maul's ability alone. Not just that, this ability is actually really strong against the Swarm decks, because you are just pinging out damage left, right and centre. And because they're playing loads of units out, it means that damage is solely going onto their units. There is one thing you need to be very careful of though with this ability, is that it says deal 1 damage to a unit and then 1 damage to a different unit. So because it doesn't say enemy units, if they only control 1 unit and you control a unit, that means that other damage has to go onto your unit. However, that's not the end of the world within this deck, because we actually look to harness that ability to use it to our advantage. When Maul deploys, he comes out on 6. He's a 5 attack, 6 health unit that reads on attack, deal 1 damage to unit and 1 damage to a different unit. So yet again, the same ability, just on attack. And that ability is actually a lot better than you may think, because if they play out a shielded unit, the on attack happens first. So you can actually do the on attack, ping the shield off, and then do the attack to finish the unit, or maybe just attack base and ping off the shield. But yet again, one thing to be aware of, if they don't have units on the field, or they only have 1 unit, you do have to damage your own unit, and if Maul is the only thing on the field, you have to put at least 1 damage into him. To partner up with our Maul, we've gone for the blue base, and of course, we had to go Night Sisters Lair. I mean, come on, it's Maul, the Night Sisters. I just had to. So we've gone for the 28 health base, which reads, when a friendly Force unit attacks, the Force is with you, so you get the Force. The reason we went for this one is for the sheer reason of, we want to use Maul and other Force abilities as much as we can. If we went for the 25 health base, that's good and all, but we only get 1 Force use around, and I just found it wasn't enough. With this base, we can use Maul's ability to then use the Force, ping 2 things off, then attack the Force unit, get it back, then play a unit, use the Force again. It just allows us to do multiple things in a row using the Force, which is really strong. So that is why I went for 28 health. So that's our leader and our base done. Let's crack on to these ground units. Kicking things off for these ground units is a 2 cost, and that is free Acolyte of the Beyond. This card is a 2 attack, 3 health, which reads on attack, and when defeated, the Force is with you. It isn't actually a Force unit, but because of that ability, it pretty much just means we're going to get the Force no matter what. The reason I quite like this card is because lots of time in Force decks, they would take out your Force unit early on, meaning you don't get the Force. This card kind of counteracts that, because if they do a bit of removal and get rid of him, brilliant! His ability will activate, which is get the Force anyway. And if they don't defeat it, we get the on attack anyway, so we can just keep generating the Force. He's a really solid and reliable Force generator for us, and that is exactly what this deck needed. Moving on to our next 2 costing ground unit is free Secretive Sage. So it's 2 attack, 2 health, and comes out shielded, so basically Crafty Smuggler for blue, but more importantly, it is a Force unit, meaning we get a reliable 2 attack shielded Force unit, meaning 9 times out of 10 it's going to get the attack to generate us that Force. There's not loads to say about this card. It's a really nice turn 1 play. The survivability of it's actually really strong, because unless they play a removal card, they're not getting rid of it with 1 attack, thanks to its shield, and it means we can then get our Force throws, our Force lightnings, our Fallen Lightsabers live, because it is a Force card. Moving on to our next 2 costing ground unit, we got free Karis. I mean, come on, there's no way I was going to run a Maul Night Sisters Lair deck without any Night Sisters. And it's also a really solid card for us. So it's 2 attack, 4 health, and of course it's got Force, which reads, when defeated, you may use the Force. If you do, give a unit -2/-2 for this Phase. You'd be surprised how often that will defeat something within this deck, because by the time it's defeated, normally we've done like 1, maybe 2 Maul effects, meaning there's already 2 damage on units over there, so we can normally actually use Karis for like a double whammy. She comes out, her actual damage defeats something, then her on ability happens and defeats something else, which is kind of nice. It's nice 2 for 1, and yeah, end of the day, it's just a nice turn 1 force generator for us. And rounding up our 2 cost units is Kylo Ren. So he's 2 attack, 3 health with Overwhelm. Of course, he's got the Force, and when you play an upgrade on this unit, you may use the Force. If you do, draw a card. Kind of rare you do that within this deck. It can come up nice late game for an extra bit of draw power, but I'm going to be honest, Kylo Ren is only in here because we needed another Force generator turn 1 play. If a better, or let me change that, when a better Force turn 1 play comes out for this colour, like, he will be dropped. I'm not overly keen on him, to be honest, but like I said, we needed that turn 1 Force play. Moving on to our 3 costing ground units, we've got 1 Jedi in Hiding. So it's 3 attack, 3 health with Hidden, so it can't be attacked the turn it's played. And when defeated, you may use the Force. If you do, each opponent discards a card from their hand. So this card is solely in here because I've got one of my next cards, and well, it's another Force card we can play out. It's alright, to be honest, like, you can probably drop this for something else, but like I said, it's purely not in here because, well, I'll just tell you right now, we haven't got 3 Oggdo Bogdos. I just haven't got any. If I had 3, 100% drop this for a 3rd Oggdo. With that being said, the hidden tag with Force is really nice. You can bring it out on your turn 2. They can't get rid of it unless you do a bit of removal, meaning like, yeah, again, your Force lightnings, your Force throws all go live the following turn. Our next 3 cost, you've just seen it, and that is 2 Oggdo Bogdo. Like I just said, if you've got 3 of these, 100% play 3 of them. It's an absolute must. This card within this deck is insane. And if you play the Jedi Fallen Order games, you know how painful this guy is to take down. So he's 5 attack, 5 health. This unit can't attack unless it's damage. Oh no, if only we had an ability to damage our unit. Oh wait, we've got Darth Maul. So you can activate his ability, do 1 damage to their unit, 1 damage to Oggdo, boom, you've got a 5 attack unit ready to go turn 2. It has got another ability which reads, when this unit attacks and defeats a unit, heal 2 damage from this unit. So if he is getting low on HP, you can just hit into something, heal him back up, meaning he's good to go. But please remember, if you're getting back to 5 HP, he will not be able to attack. That's where we look to use Maul to keep pinging him, getting him ready for us. Moving on to our next 3 costing ground unit is 2 Grand Inquisitor. Similar story to Oggdo. If I had 3, 100% run 3, but unfortunately I haven't got 3 of them, so because of that, we only run 2 of them. So Grand Inquisitor is 3 attack, 4 health with Hidden, so the turn you play him, he can't be attacked. And he's actually got raid 1, meaning he's always going to be hitting for 4 when he attacks, which is really nice. The reason though the hidden tag is so nice, it just means because they just survive. And in this deck, it means you're pretty much guaranteed to get the Force online again. And as we discussed earlier, getting it live for more is really strong. He also reads, other friendly Inquisitor units gain Hidden. That is a really strong ability, and if you've watched my Grand Inquisitor deck, you know how insane that is. And this is alright. I mean, we only run 1 other Inquisitor, but it can come up, so don't miss it. But he's mainly in here because you can play him out, means you're guaranteed to get the Force online, and he will probably get an attack or 2 in for you, so it's just pretty much guaranteed damage. And rounding up our 3 cost ground units is 3 5th Brother. So we would run 2 of these, but we've only got 2 Grand Inquisitors, so if you're looking to run the 3 Grand Inquisitor because you got them, drop 1 of these for it. But that being said, this card is very good for this deck. So it's 2 attack, 4 health, which reads, this unit gains raid 1 for each damage on him. And he's actually got another ability which reads, on attack, you may deal 1 damage to this unit and 1 damage to another ground unit. So essentially you're boosting him up for the attack. The reason he's really nice with Maul is because if you have to damage one of your own units, just damage 5th Brother, because essentially you're just pumping him with damage. So one thing you can do which is really nice when you play the 5th Brother is activate Darth Maul, do 1 damage to 5th Brother and 1 damage to their unit. Then if their unit's got 1 HP left, then attack their base with 5th Brother, do 1 damage to further boost 5th Brother up, and do the other damage on their side of the field to actually defeat that unit, and then you can attack with 4 attack unit while defeating something at the same time. Really nice card for us, can do a lot of work, can ping shields for fun, we can actually boost him up to insane damage, and on top of all of that, he can get the hidden tag from Grand Inquisitor. Moving on to our 4 costing ground units, we've got 2 Chirrut Way. I said this in one of my last videos, but I believe Chirrut is an absolute must in any blue Force deck. Why though? Why is he? So he's 3 attack, 5 health with Sentinel, you know, pretty solid already. But he also reads, when this unit is attacked before damage is dealt, you may use the Force. If you do, the attacker gets -2 for this attack. So because of that ability, it actually makes Chirrut really difficult for the opposition to take down through attacks. And not just that, it doesn't say once per turn or anything, so if you can keep generating the Force, it means you can just keep on doing it. One thing to be aware of though, using the Force is kind of difficult within this deck. Knowing when and when not to use it is tough, because remember, if you activate Maul's ability, you're going to use the Force, so then if they attack into your Chirrut, you can't use it. So you have to really think ahead what the opposition might do, and if you're going to need that Force for maybe Maul or Chirrut or into our next card. And that next card is Talzin's Assassin, which is 4 attack, 4 health, and reads, when played, you may use the Force. If you do, give a unit -3/-3 for this phase. So by the time Talzin's Assassin comes out, you've already pinged a lot of damage with Maul, meaning their units more often than not will have 3 or less remaining HP. Meaning to play out Talzin's Assassin, use the Force, boom, removal. Moving on to our next 4 costing ground unit, we got 3 Darth Tyrannus. This card is absolutely insane. He's so good. So he's 4 attack, 3 health with shielded, and he also reads, while the Force is with you, this unit gains ambush. So you can play him out, give him his shield, boom, ambush, defeat something, and you have a full health unit ready to go. Or another thing you can do with him, which I don't see very often, is that you play him out, don't activate the shield, then ambush into something with 2 or less power, you'll defeat it, your Tyrannus will survive, then activate his shield ability, meaning you've then got a 4 attack shielded unit that's cleared something off the board. How insane is that? Darth Tyrannus is another one you need to be very careful of when sequencing events, because he needs the Force for that ambush. But this card Tyrannus is, honestly, he's insane. He will swing you games, and he's a really strong card for that stage in the game. Moving on to our 5 costing ground units, we got 2 Darth Malax. So this card is 4 attack, 7 health with Overwhelm, and when played, if you control a Sith leader unit, you may ready this unit. So if you haven't deployed out, you can attack with your Maul, do a nice bit of damage, pay 5, bring out Malak. Oh wait, that's a Sith, ready him up, boom, you've got another unit good to go. That ability has come up so many times for me to clear a really nice card off the board, or just win me the game straight up by having it ready. And because he's got that Overwhelm, you'd be surprised how many times he'll defeat something and do the excess damage. Moving on to our 7 costing ground units, we've got 1 Count Dooku. So he's 5 attack, 4 health with shielded. Gonna be honest, that stat line is not very good, but he does read, when played, you may defeat a unit with 4 or less remaining HP. The reason that is so good within this deck is because you can keep activating Maul to damage units, so more often than not, you will get them to the stage where they have 4 or less remaining HP, meaning out comes Dooku, boom, defeat it. If I had more of Count Dooku's, I probably would run more. I'm not too sure. So originally my plan was to run 3 of them. And well, because I didn't have 3, I actually run the Sun instead. But using the Sun, I actually realized how strong the Sun is. So it's up to you guys if you want to run the 3 Dooku's, or if you want to drop him and go 3 Suns. But yeah, talking of the Sun as well, yeah, our next 7 cost is the Sun. So here's a 6 attack, 8 health, which reads, while the Force is with you, each friendly unit gets +2. Meaning, if you have the Force when you play him out, he becomes a 8/8. Yes, an 8/8 for 7 cost. Playing out the Sun on the turn after you've got your Maul out is insane, because this then becomes a 7/6. You then got an 8/8, and well, anything else just getting boosted. It's so strong. I just found the Sun was such a good finisher for us. The amount of times I needed like that 1 or 2 extra bit of damage, and this ability's come out and just absolutely rip through the opposition for me is crazy. So that's our ground units done. Let's move on to the space units. Kicking things off with the space units, we're going to go straight to a 5 cost, and that is 2 Devastating Gunship. So it's 3 attack, 5 health with grit. That grit is really important, because if you have to damage your own unit with Maul, then damage this. This will become a massive problem out of nowhere for the opposition. This card also reads, when played, defeat an enemy unit with 2 or less remaining HP. So because we've probably been pinging a load of damage all game with Darth Maul, they're probably going to have a unit with 2 or less remaining HP. So you play it out, boom, defeat it. The reason we don't run 3 though is because even though this card can be really strong, and in some matchups this card will win you the game, it doesn't come up all the time, because they don't always get them down to 2 HP. So it's good, but not good enough for 3. And rounding up our space units is a 6 cost. I know, we haven't got many. That is 2 Ruthless Raider. So this card is 4 attack, 6 health, which reads, when played and when defeated, deal 2 damage to enemy base and 2 damage to an enemy unit. So yet again, it's even more ping damage for us. So this plus Maul will just nuke the opposition's board. And well, playing this out and then following up with Devastating Gunship is pretty much a free bit of removal for us. I was very tempted to run free, and I might still run free. But if you want to fiddle that number, go for it. But I found, to be honest, 2 is just right for me. And, well, at the end of the day, it's just a consistent and solid bit of damage. I know we don't run loads of space units, but that's because it's a force deck, so we want to get that force generated as much as we can. And I know you may be thinking, ooh, these space decks might hit us hard. They can, but in our events and upgrades, we do run a fair bit of removal. So we look to target those space units with removal. And don't forget, Maul's ability isn't like restricted to ground, so you can also use Maul to keep pinging damage into space, and then use Talzin's Assassin, or maybe our Ruthless Raiders, Devastating Gunships, and just get rid of those space units. That being said, let's crack on to events and upgrades. Kicking things off with the events and upgrades is a 1 cost, and we want to run 3 of these. That is 3 Force Lightnings. This card is everywhere right now for good reason. It's a super strong card. So this card reads, choose a unit. It loses all abilities for this phase. That ability on its own is super strong, but the reason it's so good is because of this. If you control a force unit, pay any number of resources and deal 2 damage to the chosen unit for each resource paid this way. This card is basically a delete, see you later card. You want to play out a leader? Cool, Force Lightning, pay 4, see you later. You want to play out the Crate Dragon? Cool, I'll pay 1 to turn off his ability. Oh, I'll take 1 damage back. Okay, pay 5, get rid of it. It's just a super solid and reliable card. It's another reason we run a ton of force units, so we can pretty much always guarantee this card is live for us. That's it for our 1 cost events and upgrades. We're no other good ones within Red Force, so we don't need... You know I'm joking. We want to run 3 of these, and it's a 1 cost. That is 3 Force Throws. I really don't need to say much about this card. It's literally everywhere. It's stupidly strong, and if you're running a red Force themed deck, it has to be in there. However, if you don't actually know what this card does, it reads, choose a player. More often than not, you're going to choose the opposition, but you can choose yourself, which comes up sometimes. That player discards a card from their hand. Then, if you control a force unit, which you probably will, you may deal damage equal to the cost of that discarded card. Oh my word, does this just instant delete things. Like I said, you have to run this out of 3 of if you're running a red force deck. It's just so strong. If you time this correctly and they haven't got a low cost unit in the hand, it's just a free bit of removal. Or worst case scenario, they play out something quite big. Maybe you discard your own Count Dooku, the Sun, do 7 damage, just delete something. Yeah, it's so good, like stupidly good. When you play it, it doesn't feel fair. But unfortunately, while it's in the game, we got to use it. Moving on to our 3 costing events and upgrades, we want to run 3 of these, and that is 3 Power the Dark Sides. This card simply reads, an opponent chooses a unit they control, defeat that unit. So because we're pinging a lot of damage with Maul, or we play a lot of units like Talzin's Assassin, things like that, just constantly removing things off the board, we can just strategically remove things until they've got like a leader or a really high value target out. Just pay 3, get rid of it. Or if you've got the initiative going into your second turn, just start with this, get rid of their card, and you're instantly up, because then you've got your turn 1 play and they're down. It's just a super, super strong card. Moving on to our next 3 cost, and that's 3 Fallen Lightsaber. If you deploy your Maul leader and give him this, oh my word, is it ridiculously strong. So, attached to a non-vehicle unit, well, 90% of this deck is, so you probably will. If attached unit is a force unit, which it will be, it gains on attack, deal 1 damage to each ground unit the defending player controls. So yet again, even more ping damage for us. And it also gives it +3 attack and +3 health. So it instantly makes any of our units a massive issue for them, doing even more ping damage, so they've probably already got damage on it, even defeating them. Or if you want to be really, really horrible to them, you can deploy it onto your Darth Maul leader, making him make 8-9, essentially doing 2 ping damage on attack. It's just... This has won me just games on its own. This coming out and just clearing boards for fun while swinging for insane damage. It's just, yeah, it's ridiculously good. And rounding up the main deck is a 4 cost. That is 1 Fell the Dragon. Just defeat a non-lead unit with 5 or more power. The reason we only run one of these is because we've got a lot of ping damage, we've already got our Power of the Dark Side, our Force Lightnings, our Force Throw, the Talented Assassin, all of that removal already. But the reason we want to run this one is because all of that tends to get rid of like the, you know, mid-ish game cards. If we do get to the late game, play this, get rid of it, and then just swarm with your other units. That is it for the main deck. Let's move on to this side deck. Starting things off with the side deck is an 8 cost, and that is 1 Supreme Leader Snoke. So 6 attack, 6 health, which reads enemy non-lead unit gets -2/-2. That can come up really well because we're already pinging a lot of damage. So this card, of course, is really strong, but it's alright for this deck. The only reason we can run him is because we haven't got one of our next card, which is a 9 cost, and that's Avenger, which reads when played and on attack, an opponent choose a non-leader unit they control, defeat that unit. So insanely strong, and if we get to the point in the game where we're playing Snokes, we probably want to play the Avenger anyway. But like I said, if I've had 2 Avengers, I'll drop the Snoke 100%. But if you want to, you know, move around, use either or, go for it. Because one thing Snoke has got, he is Force, so he does get synergy with 90% of the deck. Our next side deck option is a 1 cost, that is 2 Confiscates. It just reads defeat and upgrade. This is mainly in here for when you do play those pilot decks, because those pilot decks are a good counter for us. I do, you know, we've got quite a good bit of removal, and if we get it at the right time, we kind of destroy space, but that requires us to draw the right cards. But if you're playing a pilot deck, 100% bring them in, pop those leaders as soon as they deploy into the ships, and well, with all the lightsabers right now, there is no harm in running this card in the side deck, especially for a 1 cost. Moving on to our next 4 costs in the side deck, and I'm actually going to show you 2 cards here, because if the game do keep going on and on and on, and you feel like you need a bit of removal, put these cards in. So we've got a second, Fell the Dragon, and then we've got 2 Shatter Points. This card is insanely strong. It's really good. The reason we don't run it within the main deck though is because it needs the Force to activate, and because we've already using the Force with our Maul ability and half our cards, like I just found it came dead in our hand. Reason Fell the Dragon went in over it. However, if the game is dragging on, bring it in. So you choose one, defeat a non-lead unit with 3 less remaining HP, so you don't even need to use the Force to activate that one. And because of Maul's ability, we can actually do that one a lot more than you may think. But it also reads, use the Force. If you do, defeat a non-leader unit. So it's kind of like Vanquish, you're paying 1 less, you just have to use the Force. But like I said, if you're playing a deck where you're using your Maul ability quite a lot, this card becomes dead. But please remember, besides into the main deck, be aware of your Force usage, and you need to set that up. And rounding up the side deck is 3 Bombing Runs. This card reads, choose an arena, ground or space, deal 3 damage to each unit in that arena. This card is so nice within Maul, because yet again, like I've said throughout this entire video, we're pinging constant damage. So because of that, their units are going to be fairly weak. So playing this out and just nuking absolutely everything is gorgeous. But the main reason it's in here is because the 2 decks that can cause us some issues are like things like Kylo Ren really, really fast aggro, and also the Darth Vader space. But Bomb and Run just counters both of them. Bring them in, plus all of your Force Lightnings, Force Throws, and your Maul pings. Like, you're just going to decimate them. And that is it for the main deck and the side deck. Here is the deck list for those who want it. For final thoughts on this deck, I really enjoy this deck. I think it's a lot of fun, and I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential, and I feel like as more cards come out and more ping damage comes out, it's definitely going to become better. For matchups, we can be quite good against the aggro, but we need to see certain cards. So because of that, our side deck kind of means we just decimate aggro. Our side deck plus what we've already got in here does super well, but that game one's going to be super tight. Mid game, we're quite good. We're actually really strong against mid game decks. We've got the power for a removal, through our pinging, and then our deploy turn with Maul and with Fallen Lightsabers just insane. Like, we do super well against other mid-range decks. Against control, it can be very 50-50. If you manage to be clever and get units out without getting everything wiped out, and just keep doing consistent damage, then get your Maul turn and swing for a massive amount, happy days, because we have got enough removal in here to actually deal with them. However, if we don't see the right cards, they're signal removal at the right time, you will really struggle. But that being said, I've definitely beaten control more than I've lost to it. I've just found it's been quite a hard matchup. Let me know in the comments what you think about this deck. If you tried it out, how'd it go for you? Would you make any changes to it, and why? And what decks should I make next? You will be seeing this deck in action soon, because it's going to be one of the decks I'm going to use in the gameplay video, so stick around if you want to see me using it and how I like to play the deck. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I shall see you in the next one.